Okay, so what we're going to need for this video is going to be a onesie and some iron-on vinyl. You can buy your iron-on heat transfer vinyl at Michael's, Joann's, or Hobby Lobby. You can also order it off of Amazon. So I have my Silhouette Design Studio pulled up and I have it on a fresh new mat ready to go and start designing. So for this project, all I'm going to need is to pull up and open my font. So I am going to go to the A on the left hand toolbar area, and that is going to allow me to be able to type into the screen. When I start typing, I am going to type my phrase that I want on my onesie. So on this onesie, I am going to have it say "rar" means I love you in dinosaur. I think that is such a cute phrase. And I picked up these accessories from Hallmark Baby. They are just the cutest, and I've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to make something that will coordinate with these accessories. And this is the shirt, the onesie that I decided to come up with for Josiah's 9-month photos. So I am scrolling through the font here, and the font that I am looking for is a font that is more on the handwriting looking side. I'm kind of looking for a font that reminds me of Ray Dunn or a similar font, just a cutesy handwriting font. So here you see me typing out the phrase that I want for this project. So like I said, "rar" means I love you in dinosaur. So when you pick your font, you want to be careful with the tiny little cuts that are going to be made. You're going to see later that in this phrase, the little dots for the eyes didn't stay when I was pulling apart the negative material from the vinyl, and for me that was okay. I made do without it. You will see exactly what I'm talking about shortly, but I just wanted to mention it now. If I was paying more closer attention, I would have been more careful when pulling the material off of those certain areas. So it is possible that I could have avoided this situation from happening. I just wasn't paying as well of attention as I should have been. So that's a tip for you. Be careful with the tiny little delicate areas, for example like the dotted eyes in this situation. So I'm looking at this font called Delightful. I believe this font is from the Silhouette library. I thought it was cute, but I decided to go with another font, and this one is called LW Handwriting. And so this is the font that I ultimately chose. I thought it was the cutest. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna resize and also reposition the position of the sentence. So I am going to click on the green area around my phrase. This is gonna make it so that the area that I have the letters in is longer, and so that the "rar" letters were much larger and the rest of the phrase fit right under the main part of my writing. So now you
I know you feel like you want me, and I guess in a way you do. Holding my breath, unraveling emotions. I need some space to think this through. Call me.
Okay, so here you want to make sure that once you are done with your phrase, you want to go to the top option area and hit Object. Once you hit Object, you are going to click on Mirror and then flip horizontally. You always want to make sure you do this when you are making a vinyl cutout for heat transfer, because if not and you put it on your shirt, it's gonna read backwards and you don't want that. So you are mirroring the image, it's gonna cut out backwards, but because it is cutting out on the side of the material that sticks onto your shirt, once you do iron it on, it will then read correctly. So I just want to make sure to point that out, and please do not forget this step because it is very important.
If you feel my mind, call me all night long. Try to give you hints and
when you load your mat, you want to make sure that you're applying equal pressure in the center of the mat. This is going to prevent from you having to reload your mat, unload and reload it because it loaded unevenly. If I was putting all my pressure when pushing in the mat on the left side would probably go in further than if I was pushing it from the center, where it would equally load into my machine. So now you see the machine cutting, and it is cutting our phrase, and I will check in with you after it's done cutting.
I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie to you. If I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. Call me all night long. Try to give you hints and a hard to.
Okay, so I have pulled out my iron and it has been warming up. It should be warm and ready to go. I have the image that has cut out on my heat transfer vinyl. So now I am going to start weeding out the negative material. This is the material that is left over from when the cut has completed. So anything other than the letters that I wanted for my design. What I'm going to do is I have my tweezer bees and I am poking an area on the corner so that it's easy for me to find an end to start on. So I am now carefully picking at an end to pull on, and as you can see, the clear side of the material when I do pull it off is super shiny. It's kind of like acetate type material, and so I want to pull the negative material off of this side. So I am starting on one corner and I am just pulling and lifting. So I have one hand on the mat and then one hand on the material, and I am just pulling away and also holding the acetate down with my left hand. So you want to do this, and what I do is I alternate from sides just to make it easier. So I'm kind of working my way in the middle. So now I'm over here on the left side and I'm pulling towards the middle, and I'm pulling, and then once I am done with getting it kind of towards the middle area, I'm gonna switch angles and I'm gonna pull from a different direction. So you want to be really careful, like I mentioned earlier, especially when you have small delicate items that you have cut out. For example, the dots on my eyes in this situation, I was not paying attention, like I said, and I pulled those off. But had I been careful, I would have been able to salvage those most likely. So again, I just wanted to remind you guys, be very careful with your design. I have pulled off the negative. Now what I'm going to do is with my tweezer beads, I am going to take off the centers of the letters. For example, in this R, we don't want the part that is the hollow side of the R. So I'm gonna take off all of the negative areas, and then I will talk to you guys when we are done.
Feels like I could break it any moment and shatter your insides. If you feel my mind, call me all night long. Try to give you hints and a hard to see. Right on the line, no. Losing it on you's the last thing I know. just make you cry, and I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I promise now's not the right time, and I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie to you. If I'm honest, I'll just make you.
Okay, this is about the part where I realized that the dots from my eyes had fallen off and I had found one. I was trying to put it on, and then I was able to get it on, so back on my image. So if this was to happen and you wanted to do this and you found the items that have fallen off, you can easily stick them back on. Just make sure that you're paying attention to what the different sides look like. For example, they're slightly different in texture and color. So I was able to put the eye back down, and then I realized that I was also missing the dots on my eyes in the other letters from this phrase. So I decided to take it back off, but I just wanted to mention that as we are on that part right now. I'll talk to you guys in a bit.
Now's not the right time. I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie to you. If I'm honest, I'll just make you cry.
Okay, so it looks like we are finally done weeding out our phrase, and so now it is time to put it on our shirt. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the clear part from the HTV material. I hope that's how you say it. Heat transfer vinyl, yeah. So we're going to pull that off our mat, and then we are going to prep our shirt. So when working with an iron and clothing, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this, but you want to be very careful. Usually you want to put like a light material over the surface or like your canvas area that you're using. In my case, it's a onesie. But I am just going to quickly do a quick pass to iron my onesie. And I'm going to make sure not to hover over my onesie for too long because I don't want it browning on me or burning. So once I got it smoothed out, I am going to get my phrase, and I'm going to do my best to center it in the middle of the onesie. So I am doing this just by eyeing it, and I'm trying to figure out, is this the proper placement? Usually what I do is the phrase at the top, the raw part, I try and get the middle letter and center it. So that's usually the tip that I use, and then I decided that that looked just fine for me. So now I am getting my iron and I am just applying pressure. I don't want to move the iron back and forth because it could cause ripples in my design. So I am applying pressure for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then I am moving right along, just going slightly up with the iron and moving it right along. Then again, I'm going to add pressure for 10 to 15 seconds and continue this process until I am done with my iron. Okay, so I did one quick pass going down on my phrase, and now it is ready. So I'm gonna wait for about 1 to 2 minutes for this to cool off. If you decided to try and pull this off right away, you could ruin your image because it might not be fully set yet. So you want to make sure that you do wait for this to cool off. You also don't want to risk burning yourself. So I am waiting, and then once I'm done waiting, I'm gonna start lifting the clear part off of my phrase, and it should be ready to go.
I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie.
Okay guys, like I let you know, I got all of these cute accessories from Hallmark Baby. They have been such an awesome company with having my first child. They have the cutest baby stuff, and no, this isn't sponsored. I just really love their company and all of the cute products that they create for babies. They have been amazing when I take my son's monthly photos.
Right on the line.
Saya shark, do do. Saya, look. Saya.
If I'm honest, I'll just make you